Hey, fifth graders. Okay, so this is 11.10, which is problem solving. And if you guys remember from the previous lessons or previous chapters that we've had, the problem solving chapters are usually the most annoying ones, um, mostly because you have to use the stuff that you've learned kind of in different ways. So let's just take a look at this. There's really not a whole lot of problems in this lesson. Both the actual lesson itself and then the homework is relatively short, all things considered. So we're just going to kind of jump into this. In fact, we're actually just going to go straight to number one, just to kind of show you how to do it, and we'll just kind of logic our way through this thing. All right. So this is on page 695. Number one says a company makes concrete paving stones in different sizes. Each stone has a volume of 360 cubic inches and a height of 3 inches. Okay. So first of all, we already know the volume is 360, I'm going to write inches cubed, but it's cubic inches, doesn't really matter. And we know that the height equals 3 inches. Okay? Now, if you remember from the last lesson, and from previous times that I've told you, volume is equal to length times width times height, right? Now, we already know some of this information. So we know that 360 is equal to length times width times 3. So we can kind of work backwards here and we can figure out just the length and the width, right? So if at the end we have to multiply it times 3 to get to this, then these two numbers, right? Well, if we divide 360 by 3, that should give us these two numbers, right? So 360 divided by 3, 3 goes into 3 one time, it goes into 6 twice, and it goes into 0, 0. So that's going to be 120. That means that 120 is equal to length times width. Okay? So, and this is still inches. In this case, it'd be inches squared now because we've taken off one of the dimensions, right? So now we're just looking, basically we're looking for a square or a rectangular shape. All right? So we already know that. Now it says no stones have a length or width of 1 or 2 inches. Okay, so all of them are 3 inches or greater in any direction. How many different paving stones, each with a different size base, have a volume of 360 cubic inches? Okay, so really what we need is what two numbers multiplied together are going to equal 120, where the numbers can't be 1 or 2. Okay, so let's go ahead here. So we're looking for 120, right? This is basically, at this point, we're looking for the area. All right, so we've got length and we've got width. So we're going to make a chart just to try and figure out, okay, what are all of our choices? Okay, well, we can't use 1 and we can't use 2. So the next one would just be 3. And I would suggest just starting off in one column, right, and then figuring out the other column. And try and keep this one going in order. Because as soon as this number starts appearing over here, or basically once the numbers just flip-flop, that means that we've run out of possibilities. Okay, so because we're dealing with 12, we know that it's going to be 3 and 4, right? So if it's 3 times 40 equals 120. If it's 4 times 30 equals 120. Because it has a 0, we know that it could be a 5, right? So 5 goes into 120. 5 goes into 120 times. It goes into 24 times. So that's going to be 24. Because it starts with a 6, or sorry, because it starts with a 12, we know that 6 works, right? 6 goes into 12 twice, and then since you need to go by 10 or to 120, it's going to be 20. Okay, so those are the big ones. But now we're going to start getting into smaller ones. 7 doesn't. Well, let's see. So here. 7 goes into 12 one time, which is 7, which leaves you with 50. 7 doesn't go into 50 evenly. Okay? How about 8? So 8 goes into 12 once. Oops. That's not a 12. That's an 8. Which gives us 40. 8 goes into 45 times. So we're going to have 8 and 15. Notice these numbers are starting to get pretty close together here, so we only have a couple more to go. Let's see, 120. So if we go 9, 9 goes into 120 once, which is going to be 30 left over. or it goes into 12 once, 30 left over. 9 doesn't go into 30, so that doesn't work. We know that 10 will work, right? Which is going to be 12. 11, I can tell you right off the bat, is not going to work because 12 minus 11 is 1. Drop down to 0, that's 10. 11 doesn't go into 10. And then we're going to be at 12, which is this number here. So now they're going to flip. Okay, so these are all of our possibilities right there. And it did not take that long to write them up. Are they all on the screen? Oh, they are. Good. Perfect. Okay, so we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 total stones, and so let's see, we made a table, finally used the table to solve the problem. Okay, that's what we did. So basically your answer is 6 stones. All right, makes sense? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our answer for number 1 is going to be 6 stones. And if we wanted to like write out their dimensions, we would write 3 times 40 times 3, 4 times 30 times 3, 5 times 24 times 3. But we don't have to worry about that. That's not a big deal. Okay, so there's number 1. Number 2 says, what if the 360 cubic inch paving stones are 4 inches thick and any whole number length and the width, any whole number length and width are possible? How many different paving stones could you have? All right, so let's start there. So this is number 2 now, by the way. So the volume still equals 360. Only now, the height no longer equals 3, it now equals 4 inches. Okay? And then there's an extra thing involving money. But we'll worry about that here in just a second here. Okay, so first of all, it says any whole number length and width are possible. So that means 1 and 2 are back on the table. All right, so first of all, we're going to divide 360 by 4, right? To figure out what is the area of the base. So 4 goes into 36 9 times. Oops, 6. So our area that we're looking for is going to be 90. So we'll say this is area of base. It's going to be 90 inches squared. And we'll just go ahead and erase this. Okay. So we're looking for things that multiply together to equal 90. So we're just going to do the exact same thing that we did before. We have length, we have width, and we just need numbers that we can multiply together to equal 90. But now we can use 1 and 2. So obviously the first one's going to be 1 and 90. And then 2, well, 90 divided by 2 is 45. 3, I know 3 goes into 9, so that's going to work. So this is going to be 30. Let's see, 4 goes into 80, so it will not go into 90. 5, it ends in a 0, so 5 is going to go into 90. 5 goes into 9 once. There's 4 left over. There's 40. So it's going to be 5 and 18. 6 goes into 30, so it will go into 90. So it's going to be 6 and 15, right? Because 6 times 1 is, or 6 times 10 is 60. 6 times 5 is 30. 30 plus 60 is 90. 7, I'm guessing, is not going to go into it. So let's see, 7 goes into 9 once. There's 2 left over. 27 it doesn't go into 20. 8 won't do it for the same reason that 4 won't. 9 will, of course, go in, because then you have 9 times 10. And if you look here, these two numbers are very similar, right? So the next one would be 10 and 9. But the reason why we don't use this, and I probably should have talked about this on the last one, is that, right, all that's doing here is if, I tell you what, let me, here. Okay, so let's say that this is our brick, right? This book here. Okay, so if I say, okay, this is 9 and this is 10, right? And then here's our height. Well, to go from length is 9, width is 10, to width is 9, length is 10, all I'm doing is rotating it, okay? Now all of a sudden, like that's not changing the stone, that's just turning the stone. So it's not a different stone, it's the same stone, it's just rotated. Okay, so we don't do that one. So here again, count them all up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 stones. All right, so there's our number of stones and the possible lengths and widths for them. But that's not the whole question. Okay, so first of all, it says possible. All right, how many different paving stones can be made? We know that it's 6. Suppose that the cost of a paving stone is $2.50 plus 18 cents for every 4 cubic inches of concrete. How much will each paving stone cost? All right. So, again, this seems kind of like scary, I guess, maybe, but it's not that bad. All right, so we know that we have 6 possible stones. Now we just have to figure out what is our possible cost. So it's $2.50. 50 cents plus 18 cents for every 4 cubic inches of concrete. So $0.18 per 4 inches. I'm going to circle that just so it's out of the way. Inches of concrete. Okay. Well, remember, like this seems kind of crazy, right? But remember at the top here, we said that all of these stones have a volume of 360, which is totally written in the glare, I realize now. Sorry, 360 inches cubed. I apologize if you can't see that. Hopefully, it looks like you can probably make it out. And we've already divided this by 4, right? So per 4 inches of concrete, well, all that's saying is basically, you know, every little cubic inch of concrete, well, if we divide 360 by 4, we already know that we get 90. So really, all this is saying is it's $2.50 plus 18 cents times 90. All right, not so bad. So let's go ahead and we will multiply 18 times 90. So I'm going to put the 90 on top. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to put the 90 on the bottom. That's simpler. Okay. Remember from way back in, was it chapter 4 or 5, was multiplying with fraction or multiplying with decimals. So we just ignore the decimal point to start. 9 times 8 is 72. Carry up the 7. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 7 more is 16. Then we count, okay, all total in the problem, how many numbers are to the right of the decimal point? Well, there's 1, 2. So we're going to move this decimal point over, 1, 2, to right there. Okay? So this is going to be $2.50 plus $16.20. All right, not so hard. And if you add those up, that becomes $18.70. Right? Yes. Okay. So there's our 2 things that we need to know. We have 6 possible stones, and each of those stones costs $18.70. So with these problems, so you'll have 3 through 7, basically. 7, there's more than one possible answer. It's just filling in the bubbles, but basically just work out which ones make sense. With these problems, especially number 3 and 4, and I'm guessing 5, they can look a little complicated. The reason why I did 1 and 2 together is because just traditionally those are the ones that kids have freaked out about until they realized how easy they were. Just break it down into smaller, like, you know, take one chunk of it. Like, okay, it says this, so I need to find this. You know, here, 360 inches cubed. The height is 4 inches. Figure out all the different possible, or how many different types of stones could there be. Well, that seems like a lot, but when you break it down, really, you're saying, how many different ways can I multiply 2 numbers to get to 90? Which is not that hard, right? You make a chart, you just go straight through it. It's easy. You can do this. Okay, so go ahead and do the rest of them. And again, as always, if you need any help, please let me know. Yeah, you got this. You can do it. Yeah, have a good day.